What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for this week's episode. What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for this week's episode of Hiroaka Final Season, man. And yeah, a banger episode once again, man. Though, obviously, compared to in terms of animation, well, this is easily probably the weakest of the season so far. No surprise there, man. Like, we knew this was going to, I bet you guys are hungry, that this was going to be a very dialogue-heavy episode. So there probably wasn't going to be a lot of instinct, especially coming off the heels of last week, which was incredible, man. We had Yuki Sato. You know, that was a tough act to follow. As you guys know, people were posting about this episode, saying that that Izuku's fight's gonna look like shit. There was this one chick going on about when the episode, I guess, leaked, or the leaks had come out, said, like, this episode's a shit amount. And I literally checked her Twitter, like, right before I started recording, because I was curious to see if she had actually watched the episode yet, and what if her opinions actually, and said, oh yeah, it's a solid 8 out of 10 episode, man, and like gives a reason. She had like posted some clips of her react to the episode on her Twitter. I'm like, you know, people, you could think people would learn to not consume Hero through release given what's happened with the manga, but I guess not. Anyway, so yeah, man, this was a phenomenal episode, man. Like I said, not really too much crazy stuff on the animation. We did still get a good handful of cuts. Actually, I just saw a sandwich to the episode was uploaded. There was definitely a few more cuts in there than I thought it was. I didn't think there were going to be that many entries for this episode. But yeah, man, the episode still phenomenal, especially in terms of the drawings, man. While the animation wasn't really nothing to write home about for most of the episode, man, the drawings of the episode were top tier, man, were top notch. Also, as you guys probably saw, man, Yuki, my girl, Haruka Ida got to work on the storyboard for this episode, man. She was like one of the two people that storyboarded this episode. So obviously I was happy for that. I was like, yes, Haruka Ida, she's on Hiroaka. Finally, our girl makes an appearance, man. Hopefully the first of many. Like I said, I'm still hoping that she will be directing an episode, more specifically the Cliff episode, or hell, even the final episode, man. We'll have to wait and see on that if that becomes true. But hey, I'm glad to know that Haruka Ida did in fact work on this season. But like I said, hopefully it's the first of many appearances. Like I said, she'll be directing an episode. Hopefully, I really hope this isn't her sole contribution to the final season, man. It's just this one episode doing storyboarding, man. But we'll have to wait and see on that, ladies and gentlemen. Also, guys, one other thing about this episode I got quickly before we jump right in was, you guys may know that Crunchyroll, as of recently in the last couple of years, has become rather infamous for their quality control and their quality with, like, you know, subtitles not loading in there, man, them using AI for their translations, just shitty translation, the timing of everything being off, so everything's out of sync, man. And this was always with, like, some of their, like, lesser popular shows, like some of the more random seasonal shows that are not their big heavy hitters for that season, man. You know, they'd always have it there, but it never really ever happened, at least as far as I know, with any of their big heavy hitter titles, especially like Hiroaka. But Hiroaka has gone relatively smoothly throughout its run, even when Crunchyroll is, like, you know, breaking down the seams, man, with the technical issues that some of their shows have had. Hiroaka has managed to remain, you know, stable, understandably so, because, you know, it's one of their top titles. You would think that Crunchyroll will make sure that one of their top titles for that season would go, you know, everything would go smoothly, there wouldn't be any technical issues. Well, obviously, for one, we know that the episode, for some reason, did not drop on Crunchyroll for the longest time, even though it's up on Hulu. Then they didn't have English subtitles when they finally released it, man. Shit was crazy. And then with this episode, man, the subtitles were straight up missing in certain aspects of the episode. Like, there were certain parts of the episode where characters would be talking, and there would straight up be no subtitles. I was kind of surprised by this, man, because like I said, this has never happened with Hiroaka before, and so I had to go and fact check this. So after I went to the episode, I had to go fact check some other sites just to see if, like, they had the subtitles for those parts, or if it was missing on there too. They didn't have the subtitles, so I'll talk about those ones. So I'll switch over and, you know, tell you those lines I missed that were not in the original, like, Crunchyroll version. So at least the version of the episode I download my computer to watch, to, you know, actually react for you guys. So yeah, I guess Hiroaka is not immune to Crunchyroll's fuckery. But anyway, guys, whatever the case may be, let's just jump right into the actual episode. So we start the episode off actually with a massive flashback to several days prior, while they're still planning out the whole thing with Shigaraki and All for One, and getting them separated for the you know, the actual final battle. Also, we also see Best Genius rocking some new duds. This time he's now got a coat over his outfit, man, which honestly looks awesome. Which I gotta ask though, did he wear this in season 7? Because I swear to God, he never wore this in season 7. He was wearing his normal, you know, usual. He did not have this extra jacket with the collar popped up on as well. I could be wrong though, but I'm pretty sure he didn't wear this in season 7. I've been rewatching because, the manga rereads with MH and Lore, and like those guys on Twitter. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys have probably, seen them around. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, I might be tripping though, and he did wear this like one time later on the season, but I could be wrong. If you guys know for sure, tell me in the comments if I'm tripping, or if this is the first time we've ever seen him rocking this coat. It's a good looking coat, but I'm pretty sure this is complete, which also doesn't make sense, because like, why was he wearing during the actual fight? Why was he just in his normal outfit there? Like, do you not feel like, he's like, nah, I'm gonna ditch the coat. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, he's talking, Best News is going over the plan, and then he takes Shigaraki in the coffin of the sky, and then, poor Tamaki, man, poor Tamaki, he raises his hand because he's asking, like, oh, is it because, like, in Jakku, we'd be at an overwhelming disadvantage on the ground? I keep hearing, he's like, no. And then Miss Genius says, no, it's a matter of unified purpose, as in, what are we seeing? And then Tamaki gets all embarrassed, starts hiding him, starts, like, pulling his hood over his head, and he's like, the dude just wants to die. Well, you got Nejire tapping him on the shoulder, trying to console him, as she's, like, talking to Miss Genius. Oh, this is a funny moment, man, seriously, like, I low-key ship, like, this is, like, one of the Hero August ships that I low-key kind of fucks with, man. Nejire and, Tamaki, man, they're fun, I like them, man. So, yeah, this is like one of the heroes I like not one of my big ones that I'm like, yes, this is my shit, like, like Izuo Ocha, Bakokami, Totomomo, Kiramina. Now, this is like one of those, like, this is like one of those side ones that I fucks with on the down, that I rock with on the down low. This is the ones I kind of fucks with, man. I'm not super into, man, but I always enjoy it when I see it. But I'm not actively looking for it, you know what I mean? But yeah, this was a fun sequence. This was a fun scene, man. This was a funny scene. So then Nejire wonders if it has to do with, like, them trying to, like, keep collateral damage down to a minimum, which as Ed Shut says, they're way past the point of worrying about, like, buildings and, like, the surrounding environments. They, like, knew this the second they picked Kamino Ward for Dodge Fight, because, the All Might statues there, which we haven't saw in the episode, did in fact melt. Most of it. I don't know if the whole thing completely melted down, but a good chunk of it did indeed, of the statue did indeed melt. And so Nejire, and then this is when Mirako comes there. So, hey, Mirako's gonna get some screen time this season. Hey, good for an Eren, man. You love to see it. He says, stop with the intro. And then Miss Genius starts to chime in. Mostly it's because of how powerful Shigaraki is now, and just given his hatred and his quest for destruction, or his lust for destruction, that there's a good chance he might just destroy the fucking earth. So obviously, so they gotta worry about that. And even if they manage to stand their ground and win, they still have to have a foundation on which they can rebuild from. So that's the main reason why they're going to keep him calm as guy, just to keep him off the ground, so he doesn't like destroy the earth, it doesn't become a disaster, which, as we can see in this episode, it's starting to happen. So once we cut back over after the OP, man, we're then back over to Shiketsu, where this is the first instance where we're like, the subtitles were just mysteriously bad. So we have this old couple. They mentioned that their house has now been flooded, and that field he inherited was from his grandfather. So obviously they're consoling and mourning the loss of their property, their field, man, which I imagine as everything gets flooded around, man. Animation here looks great, man, which we saw in the PV. But then for wide shots, man, whatnot, they go to CGI, and the CGI water looks fine. It's no Avatar Way of the Water, but hey, it gets the job done. For anime standards, I say that's some fine-looking CG water. Well, all this is all going on, we also get a shot of Inko as well, man, crying, and she's, like, with her hands together, being like Izuku. And then we get to the shot trailer where we see, like, the ground, the road beneath them start to break off, and water starts flooding the area around them. Straight up looking like some disaster type shit, like Day After Tomorrow. Was that the one where shit was flooding in there, or am I thinking of another one? But whatever the case may be, like, this shit's starting to turn into a fucking disaster movie. And then Shigaraki mentions that the country is about 378,000, square kilometers in area, and that he mentions that, this rate he can completely sink Japan under the beneath the waves in like a week's time, or like whatever city that they're in currently. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff going on there right now. What's going on between these two now? So we get back to Izuku, and Shigaraki's in the final. Well, they're with the water, with waves just going everywhere, man, flooding the surrounding area. Shigaraki finds, this is when Shigaraki learns that All For One is in fact dead. He's like, oh, Master is dead, and charges towards Izuku. They battle for a bit, man. We then get to see the return of the onomatopoeias for like like moves and whatnot, which you guys know I'm always a huge supporter of, and I always love when we see that, man. So I was happy to see it in this episode as well. We also see Izuku is actually rocking his his mask for once, which is good to see. Man, like I said, it always, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this before in my previous reviews for previous seasons. It always bugged me that Izuku never wore his mask, and like you guys remember when I was reviewing season 6, I was so happy that like finally he is wearing the mask and like the mouth guard thing. Finally, it only took you 6 seasons to get to actually wear it again. So, but yeah, here he's wearing just the face guard mask part for which as I'm explaining later was like I think to help him breathe. But anyway, Shigaraki charges towards Izuku, man. We see his hands start to light up there, and then Dangerson goes off and Izuku's managed to chop off most of his fingers, and and to keep distance between him and Shigaraki. But then we find out that somehow Shigaraki was able to steal Danger Sense. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this is probably like the most confusing part of the episode for me, because like, how did this happen? Because from every other time we have seen Shigaraki or All For One have to steal a quirk, it takes a little bit of time, not a lot of time, but like, a good few, it takes a good, 30 seconds, maybe a minute before, the quirk is put in. Now, I don't know if it's because, All For One is a stockpiling quirk, and this is a partial thing, so that's why it's quicker than the usual, and he's just trying to steal one quirk, and it seems like he can't even steal One For All by itself. At least All For One couldn't, from what we saw in the previous episode. But who knows about that? So maybe that's why the time limit to get the quirk was shrunken so much, to where he was able to steal Danger Sense in such quick time. But yeah, this I found it was a bit confusing how he was able to do it so quickly, given how we saw Shigaraki and All For One, how long it takes them to steal quirks. Previously. Which also, one other thing I wanted to mention real quick, that was a cool shot that I don't think I mentioned in my reaction, but I did notice as well when we get back over to the Vestiges, and where they take another flashback to about a dozen seconds, which I thought that was funny, that they had such as that was that specific of a time, like dozens of seconds ago. I just thought that was funny. You could actually see with all the Vestiges of One For All, you could see All For One in the background as Yuichi's looking at him, man. Shot here, this looks amazing, man. I don't know if Haruka Ida herself storyboard this one, or the other storyboard that was attached to this episode, man, did this one, but either way, man, this was a fantastic shot. Anyway, they converse for a bit, Banjo says some stuff for a bit, and then Dangerson goes out there, he pushes N out of the way, and ends up sacrificing himself, and Shigaraki ends up taking him. Like I said, I'm not sure how I was able to get Seal Quirk this quick, given from everything we saw previously in the series, but whatever the case may be, Izuku has now lost Danger Sense, and Shigaraki now has it. And this is also what we saw in the PV. We also saw him have the red, Danger Sense, which obviously looks good. The yellow looks cool, but that red one, man, that red one looks so much cooler than the yellow, man, if I'm being honest, man. Me personally, I think that just looks really fucking cool. Then we get to see Danger Sense's chair start to fade away into ash, which was all done with CG, but it looked pretty good. And then Izuku starts using uses Black Whip with Fajin to try and does use Gearship as well, to try and take out Shigaraki, but now, of course, Shigaraki's got Danger Sense. Oh my god, damn. I just gotta tell you, the coloring on this looks so good. The red into the purple, man. It looks stunning, man. I love this color, man. It looks incredible. Anyway, so yeah, he's down there, and he's like, oh, no wonder you're able to survive this long, because you were dangerous. And Izuku's like, fuck, he's using it against me. And so now Izuku's on the defensive, Shigaraki's on the offensive. He mostly uses Black Whip to shield him, to wrap around him, to shield him into a ball. As Shigaraki's on the offensive, throwing him all over the seas until we eventually get to Mount Fuji. As he's going off, you still think I'm a human, etc., etc., etc. We get to Mount Fuji, and it seems like, honestly, I don't know about y'all, but it seems like when we got to this part of the episode, there was a noticeable uptick in the drawing quality, man, because the drawings from here on out, well, not all of them, like, most of the drawings, like I said, were phenomenal, but there were, some truly, truly spectacular drawings in this episode, and they all were in this section, man. Like, when we start right here with Izuku, and he starts, breathing heavily, and his mask starts to break, and crumble beneath, and start to crumble, and it's in his hand, man. The drawings from here on out looked amazing. Anyway, Izuku, this is low-key some shit you would see out of Gachiaka, low-key. This with the Gachiaka era at the same time, I couldn't help but think of Gachiaka during this scene where Izuku's mask, breaks on him and crumbles into his hands, man. His vital instrument. Gachiaka is a banger show, though. I'm looking forward to what Nakamura has in store for us for his cut in both seasons, and both here as well as Gachiaka. Bro, imagine if they aired the same week. If whatever episode Nakamura is on is in that same week here when Hero Walk does that episode, that's also where Nakamura's cuts. Bro, that would be insane. We got 2 Nakamura cuts in the same week, man. That should be insane, man. But we'll see. Have to wait and see how that because I don't think we've got any confirmation on where he's at on either show. Fajin, I forget half these characters' names. I'm sorry. Fajin shows up and says, like mentions, like I said earlier in the video, that he only started wearing it so he could keep breathing with those surging waves. Like I said, this drawing of Izuku when he's like looking at the broken mask pieces, man, looks amazing. They liberally started using thicker outlines around here in this part of the episode, man. The drawings here were just so damn good, man, so damn good. Anyways, this is when that's when Izuku realizes he's on Mount Fuji, and then eventually Shigaraki comes back and finally catches up to him, man. He like puts his hands on the ground, starts breaking the ground around him on Mount Fuji, and he realizes that he was supposed to, that he brought him here on purpose, and that he's going to try and erupt Mount Fuji. Because as he mentions here, man, he's gonna like destroy everything, man. He's gonna sink it, man. And like Izuku's face here, man, like I said, the drawings here are so damn good. He mentions as he slowly starts walking towards Izuku, he mentions like, the horizon he's gonna build. Spinner was looking forward to it, so hey, shout out to Spinner, man. He got a cameo this episode, but not just him, of course. Best Girl Uraraka also got a cameo. Another flashback, man. You love to see it. You love to see Best Girl in a new episode, man. We love to see it. Anyway, so this is like pretty much right from the trails, although if you guys feel compared, I've shown them both, and they once again, like with the shot of Izuku who's pulling Shigaraki with the black whip, man, they have been touching up since the PV, man. So with this one though, this one wasn't as drastic of a like, oh, you really notice a little change compared to that one. I think here they just mostly just mess with the color grading a little bit and the compositing a bit, but not nearly to the extent of like with Izuku pulling Shigaraki. Like that shit was night and day, but this was a bit more of a subtle change from more subtle touch-ups compared to the PV. Anyway, he mentions after I break that thing, I'll sink it. This is as Izuku starts to charge the one for all in his hand. This is of course when Uraraka gets her cameo with a flashback of her about when Izuku once said he wanted to save her, man, where he told Uraraka he wants to save, man. He says you're a person, which we saw in the dub PV. Which I gotta say, between Daiki and Justin, man, this is definitely one I give this one to Justin, man. Daiki definitely won with the All Might Cry, man. But like I said, his voice was cracking so much, man. His chest shit was so goddamn high. Like I was wondering if like Horikoshi Sensei himself or somebody had kicked Daiki in the balls right as he was recording it just to give it that extra octave or not. But here, man, I would definitely say I prefer Justin's performance from what we saw of it in the dub trailer. Anyway, so like I say, he says the version here, the drawings here are once again insane, man. These drawings are so incredible. And then Izuku explains as we start to see like one for I guess Blackwood more specifically start to start to cover up his skin, which I always kind of wonder like what exactly was the look behind the overdrive look or Wolverine Carnage, whatever kind of form you want to call this form for Izuku. I was always wondering like what the black marks was. Was it stylish, man? Obviously it was like Blackwood, but it looks like where he's like literally using Blackwood within his body to reinforce to help reinforce his muscles and whatnot from all the wear and tear and just and all the damage he's sustaining from this battle with Shigaraki. But anyway, as he says, he keeps forcing his muscles to flex using Black Whip, and uses Fajin so he can store up the string to the limit, and use Fajin to release a blast of air. Yes, Legion, we are running it back with Air Force, Delaware Smash, and Izuku manages to destroy a bunch of the ground, send Shigaraki back a bit, enough to stop DK the track from spreading any further. Which I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought once the decay starts, it's done, but apparently if you attack like the swordsman or you stop it where it's spreading, you can actually stop decay, which I didn't know about that, which is interesting that decay can be stopped with like a powerful enough attack. This is when we get to the Itano Circus, which unfortunately we still do not, at least as the time of recording this video, we still do not have an animator attached to this one. But, actually, as mentions, we do have an animator attached to the sequence with Izuku when his gauntlet breaks off of him and he's charging one for he says, I'm a person. We have Napuri and Satoshi Sasaki as the animators for both, as the animators work on the sequence, man, with Yoshihiko Umakoshi as the animation director. Though the actual animator behind the actual cut itself with Izuku saying he's a person was done by Satoshi Sasaki, at least according to here on Song of Boros. There you have it. Anyway, while the Itano service is going on with Shigaraki Dodgeman, which I was really hoping we would get an animator attached to, but I mean, hopefully soon we'll still get an animator attached to this one, because like that was like the one part of the trailer I was always most excited for was the Itano Circus. So hopefully we'll get an animator attached to that relatively soon within the coming days. But anyway, while Izuku's keeping him busy with Black Whip doing that, Izuku's of course using Fajin to charge up his legs, that, and then this is when En shows to remind him, hey man, are you just gonna stay here for now? Or even the smoke means Shigaraki can still find you, through searching. The show of Shigaraki is he's like looking for Izuku, man. Phenomenal work. Once again, the drawings here were so damn good, man. So of course Shigaraki fires like those tendril things from his hands. Like, do these have an official name, man? Seriously, because I never know what to call these things. And then Shigaraki starts doing Kaneki's little knuckle, starts popping his knuckles like Kaneki, and that got a huge pop out of me, man. I don't know if this is meant to be a TG reference or not, but I thought it was funny and cool to see, you know, to see him popping his knuckles like Kaneki. That got a pop out of me. And then Shigaraki says it must be tough having so much to protect Midoriya. And Izuku says, I'm not going to give up on that crying boy. And then Shigaraki says that people try to interpret the world based on their limited, tiny worldviews. To make life easier, they make up reasons for things they can't understand. You just want to pigeonhole me into your own narrow worldview. And then we see this woman clasping her hand, which, if you guys don't notice, when I post my reaction to the episode, I thought that they just like recycled the animation from the OP because you guys know that had a similar. I think that same woman is in the OP in a very similar position. But after the episode, I went back after I did the recording. I went back and checked the OP to make sure, like, was this the same shot or or is this different from how it was in the OP? And upon reverse, yeah, this is the shots of her in the OP are different from what we saw in this episode slightly. They might have reused tiny bits of animation, but not much. And even then, those were like way closer in the OP, while it's more of a wider shot here in the actual episode. But I'm pretty sure none of this is reused animation from the OP. I'm pretty sure. And Izuku charges towards Shigaraki again. Shigaraki continues. You can see it, can't you? Just like I can see those ghosts. You see inside me using one flow. That's why you're able to find me in smoke. He tells him to look closer. He says, I overcame the crime boy long ago. He expanded his worldview as much as possible and became me. And then we see like this a spherical structure that also got Loki looks like a domain expansion, if I'm being honest, of like buildings shifting around and everything, of like these buildings shifting around in like the circular in the sphere. It also kind of reminded me of like the Infinity Castle with how much it's moving around. And then we get this incredible shot of Shigaraki that I might put on the thumbnail, honestly, where he says, I've got nothing holding me back. And at this point, Nana's like, fuck it, Izuku, just fucking kill him. There is no hope for him. He is too far gone. Just fucking kill him. But Izuku once again reiterates that he is not giving up on that. He's not going to give up on him, and he mentions like why did he hang on to that heartbreaking past in his mind? All he did was put a lid on it. Nana starts crying again. Until that lid breaks, I won't stop punching. Which once again, we heard this in the dub trailer as well, which I think was like the last bits we heard from the dub trailer. And once again, the drawings here are absolutely spectacular, man. We then get some narration from Kudo, where he says he's been watching inside long enough to know that it's what the boy relies on. That even loathsome people, even quirkless people, deep down they have a heart just like everyone else. I want to believe that, and we see like Kid Izuku chasing down against Bakugo. Izuku's tearing up for some reason, and then randomly Star appears. She comes out of nowhere and points into that mass inside of Shigaraki and points out that there's a gap. There's a cut in there where Tenko is lying, and as he points it out to All Might that he found a crying boy. Which this was also the other part of the episode where the subtitles. I think this is the last bit where the subtitles were just missing on the Crunchyroll version, but one of the other sites I used, I went back and fact checked that they did have the subtitles for this part of the episode that was just missing right here. And then we get back to All My Men, where he finally wakes up. Ed Shaw tells him if you fall asleep, you die, to tell him to stay conscious. And then All Might starts like crawling towards like the edge of the building. That he's getting that feeling again. Then from when he was with Izuku back in season 6, when he was still unconscious. It's supposedly still far away, but I feel one for all. If its will comes flowing to me. That power we put together over time is coming apart. And this is when Kudo decides he's going to take a gamble on Izuku and tells Izuku to let go one for all. Everyone, of course, is shocked by this, man. Shigaraki starts wondering like why he's seeing Star all of a sudden, and Izuku asks him like, "What do you mean let go?" Like I said, like, bro, Gachiaka, I feel like it's like low-key changed my brain chemistry, bro. Because like every time I see something, so I just think back to like Vital Instruments and everything, man, from Gachiaka. Maybe it's just because Gachiaka is actively airing at the current moment still. So I don't know. Like, was anyone else like their mind while watching this episode just like think back to shit from Gachi Yakuna? Or was that just me? I don't know. But whatever the case may be, Kudo reiterates about how that massive clump, that massive dark lump inside Shigaraki, that's all little bits of anger, just kind of memories he has inside, all put together that amassed into one. You could say it's his determination itself. We get this incredibly creepy shot of Shigaraki, man, that looks amazing. I wish we had an animator that because this looked amazing, man. This was incredible. His mind is hardened together by hatred, and then mentions that All Might found a wound left behind from his battle with Star, which is probably how she's like, appearing right now. Even with his regeneration core, can't fully heal it. A wound to his mind, not his body, where we see Temko. And so basically what he's gonna try and do is like, now if they keep doing this, like if they just keep coming to blows, they're not gonna win. So instead, to win this fight, they're gonna try and attack Shigaraki from the inside through One For All by giving him One For All, so that they can attack him within him to finally take down and probably save Shigaraki. And it's once again shot, but it's like, we don't know how this is going to work. If we give him One For All, he can just use it. And Kudo tells him to broaden his take on the word transfer. And so he's like, he doesn't get it. And then All Might, I guess telepathically, I'm not exactly sure how him and Kudo are speaking, even though, because, All Might is alive. I don't know if he can hear them. I'm not entirely sure how this is working, but whatever the case may be, he tells him to give him like a vision, to give him a visual, to make it easier to understand. And then he asks him like, how does your childhood friend pass things to you? And then we get this shot of Bakugo literally just throwing papers towards Izuku, saying, "Take this and die." This was hilarious, man. This was so funny. So basically, they're gonna throw One For All at him in the hopes that someone gets hurt or it just breaks, to hope that they can get through it so they can get inside him to attack him from the inside with One For All, man. Which, like I said, this cracked me up. But this was easily one of my favorite parts of the episode, man. Was this bit, man, with Bakugo. But anyway, he says that if Izuku throws him with crushing force, he can break through without actually having Shigaraki actually take gear shift. So we'll see if this plan works. And eventually, even Bruce comes in and be like, "Hey man, I followed you through thick and thin, but even I have to say that this is a risk too great." It's like, that's why it's a gamble. And he says even if it does, by the off chance Shigaraki can use gear shift, he'd be stuck with the recoil state as well. So there's that as well. But regardless, he wants to believe that Izuku is in the right. And then Nana comes in there and tells All Might that Toshinori, even after all this time, to him One For All is a treasure given to him by the hero he most admires. And by the way, I have to say, man, the thick outlines here, man. But not only that, we gotta talk about Yuki Hayashi's music. Like the music that was playing during this part, man, as well as during his transformation, man. Oh man, man don't miss, man. He do not miss with the Hiroaka soundtrack, man. He does not miss. Izuku finally gets back up. He's, I guess, maybe it's the recoil there, or maybe he's been able to use Black Whip enough to reinforce his muscle so they can finally get him. Either way, he starts transforming into Carnage, Overdrive, Wolverine, whatever the fuck you want to call this form. We get some more incredible drive, both Shigaraki of this amazing close with him, and then of course the money shot of Izuku transformed as well with the claws and the tendrils behind him, man. Looks amazing, man, seriously. And initially this whole transformation thing was originally presumed to be Atsushi Mori, but the pose has since been updated to now it says Miyu Nakano as the animator behind this sequence. So this one still has a presumed credit on it, so it seems like people are still not 100% certain if it's her, if it's this person or the other one, but the post has been updated, so I guess now the current prevailing theory is that it's Miyu Nakano that was the animator behind this cut. And that is where the episode ends. The transition to the AD, man, here was phenomenal, by the way, I must say. Anyway, so yeah, that's the end of the episode, man. Another banger episode, as always, man. Next week looks pretty crazy. We'll probably be more action heavy, and I think that'll probably be the last episode from what we saw at the PV. I believe that's what they mentioned was that episode. What is this? 5? Or was this episode 6? This is episode 5. So I think episode 6 will probably be the last episode that we saw anything from in the PV. So it looks like from 7 onward will be all new episodes, I think. And maybe, given that it's gonna be definitely a more action-heavy episode, man, wouldn't be surprised that's where Nakamura's cut is. We'll have to wait and see on that if that is the case, man. But hopefully, maybe next week's Nakamura, maybe it's a little bit later on for the grand finale, the final punch. Probably, honestly, I would not be surprised. It's like for the big final punch. Now that I think about it, that's probably where Nakamura's replaced. I mean, if I was Naomi, that's probably where I would put him. But maybe he's in the next episode. Who knows? Either way, man. Looking forward to Nakamura, whatever Nakamura has in store for us, man. But yeah. Anyway, guys, we're looking at this episode of 9 out of 10, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on social if you like it. Links are below, and it's also subscribe for more. See you guys next time.